While the new Oblivion Remaster is largely intended as a nostalgia trip for a nearly 20-year-old adventure, it's also not without some pretty major changes that modernize and improve it in some key areas. Here are the biggest changes we've noticed so far with the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remaster.
This is the 27th of last seed.
By far the biggest change with Oblivion Remastered is how it looks, of course. If you haven't played the original in a decade or more, you might be forgetting just how blurry the whole thing looked. This version is a massive step up with significantly higher frame rates, much more detailed textures, faces that actually look quite good sometimes, though also mostly goofy and cross-eyed like the original. And most importantly, lighting. That's such a big step up, it's actually kinda shocking. Obviously a no-brainer for a remaster, but hey, we'd be crazy not to give it a shout out. Oblivion Remastered also adds the option to sprint. And if you forgot this wasn't a thing in the original, then count yourself as lucky. Sprinting allows you to trek across Cyrodiil much faster. Sure, your stamina will drain in the act, leaving you out of breath, which is a new problem, but more than a fair trade for being able to move faster than the previously sluggish pace. There also seems to be some new physics with movement, from everything to how you swim a lot more naturally instead of sinking like a stone beneath the surface, and when moving uphill, you go more slowly and feel resistance, instead of flying across it the same as you would on flat terrain. An absolute ton has changed with the UI, which looks cleaner, is more intuitive, and provides more useful information. Just a few examples include the fact that containers now tell you if they're empty before interacting with them, your map will let you filter by specific types of locations, like stable houses versus Daedric shrines. The compass has been moved to the top of the screen and now shows distance between you and the closest landmarks, and thank the Nine, you'll now see outlines of whichever object you're pointing at, so no longer have to worry about mistakenly grabbing the wrong item, or perhaps unintentionally committing theft and drawing the law's ire. Then there are more substantial stuff, like the layout of the menus that let you easily toggle between spells, equipment, and your quest log, or the fact that sneaking now has a way more specific indicator, so you know how close you are to being detected, rather than just finding out you've been spotted suddenly. And the persuasion minigame, which is still as unintuitive and weird as it's always been, is at least now slightly clearer by adding color-coded indicators once you've completed your first run with a new character, allowing you to see which things they like and dislike at a glance and act accordingly. The leveling system in Oblivion hasn't been entirely reworked, but the changes are pretty substantial, and basically combine Oblivion and Skyrim systems together into one that feels much better. When you selected your primary skills in the original, your character would only level up by increasing those skills, but in the remaster, now everything you do helps you progress to the next character level. You still level up attributes on a scale of 1 to 100, with a fresh batch of new points to spend after each advancement, but it feels a lot better knowing you won't eventually hit a progression brick wall like was pretty common with the original version. Virtuous Games has also said that scaling of enemies has been adjusted, so the unhinged system of enemies out-leveling you every couple levels should hopefully feel better. It will likely take a while to suss out just how much these changes have fixed the issues the original had, but it definitely would be an improvement if so. The third-person camera in Oblivion was almost entirely useless, and the remaster addresses that in a big way by tweaking the framing so that it's actually usable in combat, thievery, and more. I'm not much of a third-person player myself, but it's really nice to be able to have this as a viable option for those who want it, or if I just feel like switching things up. It also gives you the opportunity to admire your significantly less fugly character, assuming you chose to use the new character creator for good, and not to create some kind of hideous monster. One of the more easy to miss changes is character origins, a new feature during character creation that replaces the male-female attribute changes. Now, if you're a Dunmer, for example, you decide to be from Vardenfell or the mainland, the former of which will improve your endurance attribute, and the latter of which will give you a boost to personality. There are some neat lore reasons for these boosts as well, but sadly the character creator doesn't do a terribly good job of explaining this to you, so be on the lookout for these changes when making your character. Look, I love hearing the same voice tell me that I have violated the law.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
As much as the next guy, but it's pretty nice that in Oblivion Remastered, Virtuous Games has switched things up by adding new VO lines to Tamriel's repertoire.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
Where previously many of the races of Tamriel shared voice actors, a result of the original not having enough space to house unique voices for all of them, now new voice sets have been added to inject a bit of variety. Hopefully this means we can avoid the hilarious situation where two characters with the same voice start up a conversation with one another. It'll almost definitely still happen, but perhaps less frequently? Anyway, it's a nice addition that helps with immersion. Plus, if you still like the old line deliveries, most of them are still here.
He ran off with someone else, so now the ring belongs to you.
And that's it. Those are the biggest changes that jumped out to us after spending a couple days reliving the glory days of the third era of Tamriel. What other changes have you noticed? Let us know in the comments, and for everything else in the world of gaming, stick with IGN.